I usually get a lot of questions about what I do for my shoulder days, so here's a good shoulder workout for you all. So, just like all my other workouts, my shoulder day isn't super complex. I don't have a ton of exercises. I like to keep the format pretty simple. I start off with a pressing motion of some sort. Usually, it's either barbell or a dumbbell press. Today, I decided to utilize the shoulder press machine, so that's where we're at right now. So warmed up with a 45 on each side, and then my working sets consisted of 2 plates on each side. It felt pretty good. It just, going slow and controlled and making sure I felt the tension throughout the reps. Keeping your back straight, your chest up, things like that. Controlling the weight on your way down. Even though it's a press machine, still controlling the weight on your way down and making sure that you keep that tension on your shoulders, and then squeezing, with your shoulders on the way up to get back to that up position. So yeah, I did about probably two warm up sets, and then did about 3 or 4 working sets, and then I went back down to 145 just to kind of finish off. So next we went over to probably my favorite shoulder exercise, which is lateral raises. I'm a big fan of lateral raises. I just feel like they really work that lateral head or that side portion of the deltoid or the shoulder. And I think those are very key in regards to, just having that wide look and really making your shoulders pop. A big thing for lateral raises is making sure your posture is good and that you're not lifting with your traps too much. You really want to focus on lifting with your shoulders and not your traps. I find something that's really helpful with that is to basically, as you go up, kind of rotate your pinkies up. But basically, it's going to help you really focus on your shoulders and keep you from utilizing your traps too much. Another thing too that I feel like a lot of people underestimate is just the effectiveness of going slow and controlling the weight on your way down. I feel like you can get a lot of just tension and a lot of growth and a lot of muscle activation just by controlling the weight on your way down for your lateral raises, as opposed to just like letting the momentum take the weight down. If you control it, you'll get a lot more out of your lateral raises as opposed to just like focusing on the raise itself. But yes, I did a few sets of that. Probably did about 2 or 3 warm up sets and then about 3 working sets. All right, so next we went over to some face pulls. These are my favorite exercise in regards to hitting the rear delts or the back of the deltoids. I feel like the rotation aspect is really helpful in regards to hitting that part. So one thing about this, you really want to focus on keeping your chest up, keeping your back straight, and really focus on that rotation at the very top of the motion. That's when you feel it the most in your rear delts. So that's kind of where you want to focus the most. Um, and your rear delts are very important to hit because that's kind of what's going to give you that 3D appearance on your shoulders. I feel like a lot of people kind of neglect the rear delts, so that's why you want to make sure you develop yours. But yeah, so face pulls, you want to bring the rope basically to your face and just try and control the weight and pull with your rear delts throughout the entire motion. And then once you get to the very top, or once the rope gets closest to your face, you're kind of externally rotating. It's almost like a back double bicep. Just really, feeling that tension in your rear delts, as you can see in the video. Okay, and then lastly, we had some rear delt flies. The way I like to do them, I'll basically like put my wrist, instead of like holding the handles, just kind of put my wrist there and basically kind of rotate my wrist as I need to. So it kind of turns into like a lateral raise in a sense, but you're still getting that pull from the rear delts. It's a little hard to explain, but yeah, basically I'm kind of like doing the same motion that I do on the face pulls. It's just with the rear delt machine. So yeah, like I said, like my shoulder workouts don't really, vary too much from this kind of format. I'll just maybe, basically switch up 1 or 2 exercises here and there, or maybe utilize, cables instead of dumbbells or something like that. Maybe do like a cable lateral raise and instead of a dumbbell lateral raise, and then I'll also incorporate front raises here and there. I just don't work my front delts as much because usually they still get a lot of stimulation from like a chest day or any sort of pressing motion. So that's why I like to focus more on my rear delts than my front delts. But yeah, so I hope that helps. More content coming soon.